Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get.
David, I appreciate you letting me come to your boardroom and harass you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Hey, I want to ask you this question because we're in Seattle, and for some reason in Seattle, it's like all the coffee in the world, all the coffee companies are here. I mean, you have Seattle's Best, you have what, Starbucks? Is Caribou from Seattle too? Caribou Coffee?
I think they're Minneapolis.
They're Minneapolis. Okay, so now we're down to just the two though. We have Seattle's Best and Starbucks.
Yes.
If you had to choose which one would you choose?
Yeah, I'm a Starbucks.
Oh yeah,
Starbucks guy.
What do you like about Starbucks?
The burnt flavor. So the the thing that I love about them is the actual flavor itself is very different than traditional coffee. So and I've grown up on it. I mean, it's 10 or 12 years of habit. So
okay. Awesome. Well, we're going to talk about your philosophy, more or less your approach to business and some things that maybe you've done so often that they've become sort of common sense or kind of how you, really on a day-to-day basis, how you've been able to build some success here.
Okay.
And so first question I want to ask you, though, before we get going is, what are you passionate about when it comes to business? I mean, you obviously know how to make some money, you know how to start a company, you know how to, but what are you passionate about when it comes to business?
So I think the thing that I enjoy the most about the business today, and small business in general, is working with entrepreneurs. I mean, we are helping hundreds of entrepreneurs every single month to capitalize businesses that they're going into. And I look back on my life and I think, well, I've had a development business, I've had my own kind of personal portfolio trading business, and then Guidant Financial. And small business in general has played a very important role in my life. And I love the idea that we get to go to work every single day and work with people and help them create the life that they want through small business ownership.
And you in helping people start businesses, I mean, you've also, along those lines, you've also become an angel investor where you've invested a little bit with different businesses as well.
Yeah, for sure. We've had some of them worked out really well and some of them worked out poorly. But I love working with entrepreneurs. The thing I love about being an angel investor is you're working with people at the point of conception, right?
Okay.
You're an early stage investor. You're helping them formulate their business plan, think about their go-to-market strategy, and help to evolve that business plan over time. And you get to be an advisor in that process. And I find that really fun.
What, do you just get a sense of satisfaction when you see the business owners thrive and really take off? I mean, is that where the win is for you? Or do you like the process of just seeing people start a business or?
All of it. I love to problem solve. Naturally, it's something I feel like I'm pretty good at. I think back on with Guidant Financial, we've been here 11 years. We've had some amazing times. We've gone through some very challenging times. And I think mentors in general have played a really important part of my life. And so the fact that I get to now spend some time being that mentor for other, kind of early stage entrepreneurs is really exciting.
Well, okay, so let me ask this. You have a bunch of goals. You probably have a lot of goals currently that you're working on. Do you have all your goals written down somewhere? Do you know what, do you have your goals written down where they're clearly
Yeah, they are.
arranged?
No matter what level of success people are at, I feel like it's a really important thing for them to have mentors and coaches and what have you. I have a formal business coaching relationship with an individual who helps me to define my personal and professional goals because they're so closely tied. It's funny, I always hear entrepreneurs talk about how they want to find work-life balance. From my perspective, that is a fairy tale. Because as an entrepreneur, you are so closely tied to the business. The work and the business have to work in a synergistic manner, not be two separate entities that you try and keep, separation between church and state. It just doesn't work.
So you have a coach?
I do.
Okay, and so this person helps you define your goals and helps you stay focused.
It's less about defining the goals, but more about accountability.
Accountability.
Because as a business owner, our job is to help everyone else be accountable, right, to the strategy, to the goals, to the plans. But there's very rarely someone who's holding us accountable. So I actually pay somebody to make sure that they're the one that is holding me accountable to the things that I say that I'm going to do.
Now, do you keep a to-do list of all the tasks that you have to get done, or how do you stay organized? You have all these goals. You meet with your coach. He's holding you accountable. Do you have a bunch of tasks that you have written down somewhere? Or?
Yeah, of course. I mean, one of the things I love about our business is that we've got a decision-making process that allows us to make good decisions that get implemented quickly.
Okay.
As part of any decision, there is this list of tasks that come out, and oftentimes those are being assigned to me or people that I work with directly. So yeah, I definitely keep a list. I have a personal notebook that I carry with me everywhere that I can make notes of conversations, things I need to follow up on, people I need to reach out to, other decisions that need to be thought about or made. So yeah, I keep that with me all the time.
So what time do you wake up every day?
5:30.
5:30.
Every morning.
Every morning.
Yeah.
What time do you go to bed?
Well, so I'm generally in bed between probably 9 and 10. Yeah.
Okay, and you get up every day, same time?
Same time.
How do you spend those first 2 hours? What are you doing?
So generally it's some sort of activity, whether I'm going to the gym, going for a run or a walk. It's just to get up and get the blood moving and clear my head, so getting ready for the day. When I get into the office, the first thing that I do is look at my calendar to see what I need to expect for the day and make sure that I'm prepared for every single meeting. One of the things that I'm kind of maniacal about is making sure that there is a clear and written agenda going into every single meeting so that we're not wasting time or spinning our wheels. So want to make sure that I'm prepared for the day, and then I'll go through my email and see what burning fires are there that need to be addressed. But that's how I spend basically the first 2 or 3 hours of every day.
So how do you organize your day? Because Jack Welch talks about the importance of ordaining your own destiny, or basically you have to choose your own destiny or somebody else will, is kind of his mindset.
Yeah.
How do you proactively organize your day?
So I'm fortunate from the standpoint of I have an executive assistant now who helps me to manage that calendar, and some of the parameters that we've given is I need to have a couple hours of personal time every single day. And that personal time allows me the space to actually think about important decisions that need to be made in the business. To your point a second ago, if we're not deliberate about managing our calendar, the calendar will manage us.
Okay, there you
go. And everybody wants time.
Everybody.
Right? And your day can get sucked up in meetings all day long, and then what ends up happening is the squeaky wheel gets the oil as opposed to us thinking about the important things that are going to actually advance the business forward.
Do you have the same time every day that you've scheduled to think about the business or to schedule that downtime? Do you have the same time every day?
Yeah, so if you look at my calendar out 2 or 3 months, there are placeholders in every single day throughout the week. Now those get moved based on the needs of the business, right? It may be that I want to, instead of having a lunch where I've got some private time, I may move that to the afternoon because instead I'm going to have a lunch meeting with one of our board members or a potential partner. So we move them around. It's flexible. It's like a business plan. We've talked about this in previous episodes. Business plans are not concrete, they're fluid. I think the same thing about my calendar, but it is important to make sure that I've got that time to think about the business.
And you like 2 hours a day to think?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a rule. Some days I'll get more than that, other days I'll get less than that, but in general, that's what we want.
The reason why I'm saying that is because Gary Keller wrote a great book called One Thing. He's the guy who started Keller Williams, and he talks about the importance of scheduling time, what you're talking about, to think. And I know a lot of business owners, and we've all been guilty of it at some point or another, where you get so busy that you're not thinking. And pretty soon, 6 months went by, and you're like, "What did I do?" Or what's going on? So, how long have you had that practice of scheduling 2 hours a day to do that?
So this is something that we created about 2 or 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, because we were starting to see exactly what I was talking to. When the business was, new and fresh, you are chief cook and bottle washer. You are doing everything, right? And the calendar is hard to be as intentional about. As we got larger, it was becoming increasingly important that we think through the decisions and not do them just on a fly and figure them out as we go. I'd been given advice by somebody to make every weekend a 3-day weekend. And what they meant by that was make either that Friday or that Monday a day where you do nothing but think about the business. For me, that was unrealistic. For me, spending 8 hours thinking about anything, it becomes torture, not fun, right? So the way that it worked for me is I was able to say, you know what, if I was going to take a 10-hour day or 2 hours a day for a week, what would work for me, and that's what I determined would be best.
That's beautiful. See, I think that's an epiphany for a lot of thrivers right now. You got to schedule time out to think. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean you're neglecting your duties. I mean, you're still getting stuff done. And again, you're at a stage of your business now where we're obviously past the startup phase.
Right.
And when you were starting up, you're doing all those tasks, like you said, and now you have a little more time where you can be strategic. Do you utilize a day timer or a day planner, or what do you like to do? What's an application or tool or software you use to stay organized there?
So I was given, we're in Microsoft country here, right?
Okay.
So, everything's powered by Microsoft. We use Outlook. I was given a tutorial a few years back using Outlook where instead of using folders, you process mail, and instead of allowing your inbox to accumulate, you either delete, create a contact, create a task, or process or file away your mail. So I use Outlook in my calendar exclusively to manage my day. And at the end of every single day, I have nothing in my inbox.
That is my move too. Except I start off my day with nothing. So I wake up and I've got that huge list, and I get it down to 0, and I cannot move on until it's at 0. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Does it make you crazy if there's even one thing?
Absolutely. In fact, it stresses me out when I look at my inbox and I see that I've got, I wake up in the morning and I've got a couple hundred emails that have come in overnight or hadn't been addressed, at some point during the day. But yeah, I mean, if there's any email in my inbox, it starts to stress me out. Because the one thing that I don't want to do is I want to make sure as an entrepreneur, I'm removing obstacles for my team.
Yeah.
And if they're asking for things, it's likely because there's a need that I can address. So that's one of the things that I put a high priority on, is making sure that the things that are holding my team back are getting moved out of the way.
Here's one thing that I think you're awesome at, from what I can tell. Obviously basketball, but then beyond basketball, I feel like you're very good about measuring the performance of your team. So, an example, it seems as though you know what's going on at a high level in each department or each area of the business. Talk to me about how or what organizational systems you use to manage the metrics of your business, the metrics that matter.
Yeah, so in our company, we have, from a global organization, and I should say global meaning our company, not global as in the entire globe. From a macro standpoint, there are key metrics that we watch every single day that we think are important for us measuring the health of the business. Those cascade down into the departments, and so we have other key metrics that roll up into that our department heads are responsible for looking at on a daily and weekly basis to make sure that the health of their departments are performing the way that they should. We use enterprise level systems like Salesforce.com and Workday and so on and so forth to help us to measure that information and make it easy to access that data. But at the end of the day, we create dashboards that help us to track the performance of the organization.
Let me throw out some examples for you real quick here. Sure. I see this all the time. There's one business that I'm very familiar with. It's a printing business.
Yep.
And they do it the right way. And so they have flat screens up all over their business that show each tech, how many jobs they've done for the day, and then what the quality control rating was that came through from customer reviews. So it basically rates the tech so you see where you're at in the food chain, and they award bonuses based off performance for the month. So even though it's a service business where they're fixing printers, they know how long it takes every person to do it and how happy the customers are with their work. And they manage that. And I looked around, and then they have one for the sales team, and they show who has the most sales and who has the most, and they track it. And the CEO doesn't look at these ridiculously 37-page reports, but he just looks at the screens and he's able to know, okay, John's in first place, Ted down here is struggling, I need to probably help this guy, or we need to schedule training for him. But I guess what I see working well is that he knows enough about each area to manage it.
Yeah.
Where I see in business, typically you see the owners who have no metrics at all, they have no clue what's going on in any area, or they get really motivated for a weekend, and now they have a ridiculous report that's like a 37-page report per department that they don't look at. Yeah. How do you balance that? Yeah. So let's just say you're walking into any business in America right now. What metrics should every sales team know or something?
Well, so let me address something that you said a second ago, and that is that oftentimes, at least this was my perception of what you said, oftentimes entrepreneurs confuse outcomes with metrics. So one of the key metrics they may track are gross revenues. Well, that's not necessarily a metric. So I'll give you an example. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they track metrics across the organization that don't necessarily roll up So for one of the metrics that we track is service level. We believe that anyone that submits for information should be called back within an hour. So we track a 1 hour SLA. And now whether that's on initial sales or in our existing customer service, we track departments. So as a company, we track SLA. That translates down to sales and service, and we track that 1 hour SLA, and then it translates down to the individuals themselves. So those individuals know that one of the things that we think is most important to us is that people are getting the information that they request in a timely and accurate way. And we're measuring them, we're measuring at the department, we're measuring as an organization. They all roll together.
And SLA stands for?
Service level.
Service level. So you're saying, hey, we not only say we value it, because I think most owners of a company say, well, we care about our customers.
Sure.
I don't think there's very few owners who are like, customers, schmustomers, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
We all say we care, but you're actually tracking it, measuring it, and saying, hey, we will call people back within an hour, and we're going to put it up on the screen. And basically, there's almost an accountability there. There's a celebration of success there. There's a certain energy there, right?
Absolutely. And there are other phases of our business that we track down to the individual user. So we survey all of our customers to ask them, how did we perform in these functions? When you initially contacted us and went through the process of determining whether we were the right company to partner with, once we secured your funding, some of the post-funding support that we provide, and we measure their happiness level at each point of that transaction and the people that are associated. So I can look at one of our initial consultants and say, gosh, this person is far exceeding our expectations, whereas this person, we've got some training opportunities.
Do you feel like that this is being done poorly? If you just make a general statement, across America's small business, I've been a consultant since 2007, done a lot of consulting with businesses, and I feel like that this is a huge problem. That very few businesses manage anything, let alone the things they care about. Do you feel like that too, or am I out of my mind?
Absolutely. I mean, we get, as a small business owner goes into business, they've got these aspirations of what it's going to be like to, be a business owner. And the reality is it's a lot of work, it's very hard, and there's a million people that want your time and attention. And so often the important things that we should be doing to grow our business get left behind. Financial controls and measurement to me are the two most important things that get left behind.
Financial controls and measurement.
And I should say it's just financials in general. Most small businesses have very poor visibility into their cash flow, very poor visibility into their profitability. One of the tasks that most people don't enjoy doing is bookkeeping, but they won't pay for a bookkeeper to come in and actually do it right. And so from a financial standpoint, I see most small businesses, when they come to us for financing, there's a lot of cleanup work that has to be done to get to a place that accurately depicts the health of the business. Separate and apart of that, when you're inside the business, you're running day to day, just trying to keep the wheels on the bus and keep the business moving forward. And sometimes it's hard to take a step back and look at the business as a whole and say, what are the most important things we should measure as an organization? But the reality is that focus is what scales.
Mm-hmm. The focus is what scales.
Yeah. Businesses complexity doesn't scale, simplicity does.
Complexity doesn't scale,
No.
Simplicity does.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So let's say that if you're going into any organization in the world right now, and you're sitting down, they've hired you to come in for 5 hours. 5 hours with David Nilssen. He's here to help us. Financial visibility. You say that's a problem?
Big
what
problem.
are the things that they should track at a very minimum on a daily basis in terms of?
Well, it really depends on the business.
Okay.
And I think accurate accounting is a challenge. Business owners are often way behind, and again, they're not paying the right professionals to understand, their cost of goods, the cost of their vendors, the cash flow analysis, so that they understand their cash flow cycles. And so we talked, I think, in an earlier episode about someone who used their debit card exclusively, but all of a sudden ran out of money because they didn't realize that these expenses were going to hit at this point in time.
Yeah.
Those are important things that most small businesses need to understand and generally don't.
Did someone teach you this, or did you read a certain book about this, or do you have some epiphany where you said, "Oh, this is," or did you just kind of learn this from mentors, or how did you learn this? 'Cause this is the way you're managing up here is in my mind, your management is one of the things, your management and your culture and a lot of things, but your processes, in my mind, are one of the reasons why you're having a lot of success. Is there a book you would direct people to, or any type of?
I think that over 11 years of running this business, we've learned a lot. Right?
Okay.
There's some things that we failed out miserably. There's some professionals that we've brought in that have certain experience and disciplines that they're bringing to help improve the business. Mentors have been a huge value add for our business. You know, we talked about earlier I love the idea of being an angel investor and love mentoring other entrepreneurs, because I've personally made so many mistakes, and expensive mistakes, that the opportunity to help people avoid those or grow past them without having to fall completely down is exciting.
Now let's get into this whole area about distractions. Almost every entrepreneur I've ever met has a ton of distractions. Every human has a ton of distractions. I mean, we've got the smartphone, you got the text message, you got the email, you got the Facebook, you got the LinkedIn. I mean, it just doesn't end. You got mail, physical mail that comes in. You have employees that say, hey, do you have a minute? You have a minute? Yeah. You have guys like me who are like, hey, do you mind taking a half day to educate America? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. You, for everyone that I know who knows you, you're a likable guy. People like you. But at the end of the day, you have to say no. I mean, at some point, you have to say no, or you have to shut it off, or you have to not return the call or something. I want to kind of get into this. First off, how do you decide when you're going to answer your phone and when you're not, and when you're going to respond to email and when you're not, and when you're going? How do you decide just on all those things fighting for your time, just seconds and minutes of your time? How do you draw the line?
Well, I mean, I think you have to be very clear about your plan, and the plan is as important at helping you determine what you're going to say yes to, but to your point, what you're going to say no to.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs have this shiny new toy syndrome. We see the world in opportunity, and it's always on fire, right? So, oh my gosh, we're going to chase this new opportunity. We're going to chase this new opportunity. The reality is, as I said earlier, simplicity is what scales, complexity is not. So the more focused and diligent and deliberate you can be about your business, the better. So from my standpoint, we know what our top 3 priorities are.
Yep.
We know what the strategies are that support those priorities, and I have to be able to say no to anything that sits outside of that.
Do you feel bad?
Always.
You do feel bad when you say no sometimes?
Of course. Yeah, because like every entrepreneur, I see the world on fire and full of opportunity. So I have this massive urgency to conquer everything at one time, and it's just impossible.
So you feel a little bit bad sometimes when you say no, but would you feel worse if you said yes to everything? Have you ever found yourself saying yes to everything?
Yeah, so the reason why I would feel worse is because I would fail to meet the expectations of the obligation. And I would, when I say that, yes,
Ooh.
Let's take that on, I want to do that, but if I can't actually exceed expectations, that creates a whole other host of problems.
I want to make sure our program observer gets this. Notable quotable here. If you said yes to everything, you would fail to meet the expectations of that obligation. Yeah. That's helping somebody. That's good stuff right there.
It is.
So that's how you mentally decide. You're like, hey, if I said yes to it, I probably wouldn't be able to deliver the way I should, and so no.
Right. Yeah. I mean, our thing is when we sign up for something, then we expect that we're going to do it well. And unfortunately, when you suffer from yes Tourette's, it's impossible for you to actually be able to do that.
Okay, let's talk about this. You're an entrepreneur. I remember that when I started winning some business awards and got featured in some magazines and so on, all of a sudden my cell phone is ringing all the time. Mm-hmm. So when I come home, my wife and I, we have this fabulous thing where it's like, would you throw your phone into the river, please? Or will you let your phone somewhere, or you turn it off? Because or will you let your phone, so just turn it off? And if I'm not careful, 1 call, 2 call, 3 call, 4, pretty soon the whole night is gone. Yeah. Do you have any rules that you do when you come home with the fam and kind of to shut off? Do you turn the phone off? How do you turn off the distractions? When do you say, enough?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, my parents used to tell me that nothing good happened after a certain time of the evening, and so I had a curfew, right? I do the same thing with my life today. At about 7:30 every single night, I put my phone on silent. I don't have to turn it off, but I put it on silent so it's not just sitting there vibrating the whole time. There are times throughout the night where maybe I have some extra time to just check and see if anything else has happened. I mean, that's the blessing and the curse of being connected 24/7 now with smartphones. But yeah, I try and shut it off around 7:30 every single night, make sure that I'm paying attention to the people that are most important.
So what keeps you working hard after you've had all this success? Because you've had success. You could go out and buy a nice car. You can go out and get yourself a new flat screen for the house, and you can get all the stuff. What keeps you motivated to work hard? Why don't you just say, well, I've been there, done that, I'm going to go live on a boat?
Yeah. So it's interesting. Success is a relative term. And from my perspective, that bar moves every single year. So what some people might perceive as, hey, great success, others might say, you know what, there's still a lot of room for opportunity there. I think the thing that keeps me connected to it is that I still am passionate about the business that we're working in and the kind of impact that we're having. It's still fun today. If it wasn't fun, then we'd stop doing it, or we'd make changes that allowed me to step away.
So in your mind, it sounds like the thing that, it sounds like what drives you is just this consuming passion to help the entrepreneurs that you're funding or helping get funding solutions for. You're helping their lives, and then you're also achieving some business goals that you have. Is that kind of the two?
Yeah, I would say it's more about growth. So, and the way that I would define that for me personally, I want to continue to grow as a person and a profession. And a professional, right? So this environment is still very challenging to me, so I find I'm very engaged that way. I love the idea of growing the people internally. I love the company, the people that we work with. We've seen people that have started as a legal intern become a corporate lawyer. We've seen people who started their first job out of college that are managing a full department.
Yep.
So the idea of investing and growing individuals has been fun. Seeing the business continue to thrive is obviously exciting because the impact that we're having externally and seeing other business owners do that. So I think the sum of all those things together still makes it a fun and challenging environment.
Yeah.
And as long as it stays that way, they'll continue to be engaged.
And this next question, I have a little bit of a little narrative I want to add to it. I have been asked a lot of times by business owners to help them coach, basically be a coach to help them. And at first I thought, well, I'll just help this one guy. He's got an insurance business, and I'll help him. And this one guy has a mortgage business, and this one lady's got this little business, and this one guy's got this little business. And then pretty soon I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? I'm doing this, I got 27 clients or 15 clients or whatever the number is. And I've seen people who've had very little success, and within 12 months of just measuring their core metrics and just being accountable to the diligent application of their plan. That's it. Just those two changes. I've seen them totally change their life.
Yep.
So I have theories that I bring to the table as far as why I feel like people are successful and some people aren't. But in your mind, what is your perspective? Because you've funded a lot of businesses. You've helped see people. You've seen people directly flourish. You've seen people who've borrowed money and have gone on to just climb mountains. And you've seen some people, climb a little hill. So in your mind, what makes some people successful and other people not successful?
Great question. There's a lot of attributes that play into it, but clarity. So clarity of their plan, clarity of their purpose, I think is really important, so they understand what they're driving towards and how they're driving towards it. And then resilience. Business plans, we talk about this in financing all the time, and a business plan is a document that helps people define their strategy. But strategies evolve over time. So it's again, the resilience of that individual to go back and say, hey, look, the strategy wasn't perfect, it wasn't right, we need to change, we need to evolve. So I'd want someone who's very clear on who they are, why they're going into business, what they intend to accomplish, and then flexible about how they go and accomplish it.
I believe that most people shouldn't become an entrepreneur. And it sounds weird because we have an entrepreneurship website where we teach people.
Yeah.
And I find that what we try to at Thrive is if you have that mindset where you want to go out and conquer the world and start a successful business, and you bring the mindset where hell or high water, I'm going to get it done, then hey, we call them a honey badger. But hey, we're here to help you.
Yeah.
But if you're like, well, I'll see if this business works, I don't know if that's a good idea to get into business there. Do you believe that anybody can become a successful entrepreneur, or do you believe not everybody can, or what is your worldview on this?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people go into business thinking that they're going to treat entrepreneurship like a hobby.
Okay.
It is a serious investment. So I think I would agree with what you said. Most people should not be an entrepreneur. I think the reason why entrepreneurs get rewarded very handsomely when they're successful is because of the significant amount of risk they take and the significant amount of investment they make.
I've seen a lot of people who want to be an entrepreneur, like their dad was an entrepreneur, so they're going, I'm going to be one too.
Yeah.
And then they take over dad's business, and they're getting there after their staff. They're not on time. They're running their business like they're a B- employee, and their business just blah, blah, blah. Do you believe at the core of any successful business there's got to be that driver who is setting the standard? Does it have to be that way?
Well, so you talked about it earlier. I know a lot of people that are the same way, that they grew up in a business where dad owned a business, and for some reason, or mom owned a business, they think it's a birthright rather than a privilege.
Yeah.
And the reality is you have to re-earn that privilege over and over again. As a business owner, you have to continue to grow and evolve and get better. Otherwise, you lose credibility with your team, with your customers, so on and so forth. So yeah, I definitely think that entrepreneurship in general is something you have to continually work at.
Now, one of our episodes we have, you talked about a mentor named Dave.
Yeah.
Who made a big impact in your life there. If I'm watching this and I'm like, I want a Dave, I need a Dave, I want a coach, he's got a coach, I want a coach, I need a coach. What would you say the step one is to go find a good mentor?
It's a great question. So all of my board members, advisors, mentors, even the business coach that I was talking about, who I use as an accountability coach, all of those are people I've met through networking.
Really?
So I spend a specific amount of time deliberate amount of time every single week trying to get out in the community and meet good people, like-minded individuals.
Really?
We talked about this in the past. If you want to upgrade your life, then you need to upgrade your sphere of influence, your friends.
Okay, time out on behalf of someone who might be offended by that statement.
Sure.
Now, I happen to agree, but I just want to add, the guy might say, well, yeah, but like, I grew up in this poverty-inflicted neighborhood. These are my homies. These are my people. These are my guys.
Yeah.
These are my people. I don't want to leave them behind, so I hire them.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person who says, "Well, that's kind of
so
mean,
when I say
Dave."
upgrade, I'm not talking about wealth.
Okay.
I'm talking about mindset. So people who are supportive of the things that you are trying to accomplish,
Okay.
and in some cases have experiences that are additive to where you want to go.
Okay.
So, from my standpoint, I'm not saying leave them. I'm saying, I've got friends who are people that I use for social and entertainment purposes only. They satisfy that need in my life, and I satisfy that for them. There are others where it is purely a transactional relationship where we both know we're probably not going to go grab a beer together, but you add value to me and I add value to you, right?
Okay.
So the idea is to find people that, based on your needs or their needs, are additive to the relationship.
I know for me, just anecdotally, for my own life, when I decided to be intentional about upgrading who I was around, everything changed. Access to capital, easy. I had an idea, I couldn't possibly come up with a solution. They knew the idea.
Yeah.
Couldn't find the right vendor. Oh, I know a guy. Everyone, and it wasn't the wrong guy. It wasn't like I know a guy and then you hire the guy and it's a terrible abomination. I mean, it was like they had the connections, the capital, the resources, the wisdom. I mean, it was just, I agree so strongly with that statement about you have to upgrade your friends sometimes. Is there a particular, I know you've written a book, and is there a particular networking book that you've ever read that's kind of helpful for you, or a particular epiphany that you had about networking at one point where you're like, this is...
So another mentor in my life, his name is Jeff. Jeff has just this innate ability to connect people.
Okay.
And he's built his own business solely based off referral. He does nothing but take coffees and cocktails, every day. It's about coffees and cocktails, right? And I asked him at one point, and this is a philosophy that in general I live by, and I said, how have you built this network? How do you create so many connections? And he said, because I look to add value to them first in hopes that they will later. And so the whole idea, for him was, hey, if I'm going to enter into a relationship, I'm going to look for ways that I can help you and support you, and for that reason, I'm going to get what I give.
That is massively important. And for anybody watching this right now, if you were to peer into the life of John D. Rockefeller or Oprah Winfrey or let's say P. Diddy, those are just three that come to my mind. They all started where Rockefeller worked for free for these guys for about a month, trying to add value to them before they hired him. He's like, I'll just work for free, and if you think I'm worth it, I'd love if you reciprocate at some point. Oprah, interned. Sean Combs, P. Diddy, I guess goes by Diddy now, but he interned, and I think that it all starts with just paying it forward first, giving that value before you can expect to receive that value. So
yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Now, as far as if you reach out to a mentor, let's say I go to this networking event, I meet this guy, and he's like, hey, we should connect. So I call, boop, 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 voicemail, boop, 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 voicemail, email, nothing, no response. Well, how do you get the attention of a mentor if you really, really want to? Have you ever had a time where you've tried to get a conversation going with someone and it's just been really hard? I mean, do you have some secret moves, some Jedi moves that you've used?
Well, Jedi probably not.
Okay.
But I would say that there are definitely times where I have reached out to people in the past and it's met with radio silence.
Okay.
Right? So the question is, one, are they really a mentor? Or do I just see them as an opportunity? Because both parties have to see it as a great opportunity.
Okay.
The people that I invest my time with are people that I'm passionate about my business. I feel like these are people that I can be additive to. I'm receiving, I'm being stimulated by the interactions.
Okay.
If it's just a one-way relationship, it won't have legs. The other thing is I think people confuse coaches with mentors. And coaches are people that have a more structured and rigid relationship, a more predictable schedule at which you meet, a more clear agenda. The mentors in my life are people that I call when I have a specific issue that I want to discuss. And that doesn't always have to be a 2-hour investment over lunch. It can be a 15-minute phone call.
What does a coach cost? If someone wants to hire a coach, they say, I want a coach. I want the rigid schedule. What does a business coach cost? I mean, they're probably all over the map, but I mean.
Yeah, it definitely would be. I mean, I've seen it everywhere from, $50 an hour to $5,000 a month. All over the board, depending on their expertise, the size of your business, the needs, the time investment, so on and so forth.
Okay. But you might want to look at the fruits of that person's life before you hire a mentor or hire a coach or seek out a mentor. You probably want to make sure that the person's had some success before they're telling you how to do it, maybe?
Yeah, and I think coaches, in my experience, are people that I've hired for structure, strategy, accountability. Mentors are people who I use to help us evolve an idea, refine a strategy, get some Gestalt level learning, learn from their experiences, I should say. And so the mentorships are a more kind of dynamic and fluid relationship. The coaching is a more structured and rigid environment.
Final question I have here for you.
Yeah.
Do you have an underlying sort of mantra or a theme or some kind of philosophy that's the core of everything you do? Is there sort of like a philosophy that at the very bedrock, at the foundational level that you try to live by?
Yeah, so I think what comes to mind for me is I'm a big believer in positive energy, right? And making sure that energy can flow freely, and not to be on the woo-woo side, but I think that, we talked about business development,
yeah.
Right? We talked about networking and saying, hey, how can I give to this relationship before I expect to receive, right? And I think that idea of investing forward is something that has served me very, very well. And the other is, as a leader, our job is to remove obstacles so that the people that are within our organization can continue to work at a pace that is consistent with what we expect and what they need.
So removing obstacles is big.
Huge.
And then making sure there's a positive energy going there. And I know you don't want to go on the woo-woo side, but just for a second, I'd like to go on the woo-woo side
All
just
right.
for a second. I have found that every entrepreneur that we've interviewed so far, every one of them, without a fail, whoever the most successful people, all are a little on the woo-woo side. They all have a little bit of a you mentioned positive energy. I could say, well, that's weird. That's weird. But I find that Steven Spielberg, you look at George Lucas, you go, well, those are movie people. Then you look at Oprah, and then you say, well, that's this. Well, Richard Branson. All these people have a little bit of a core philosophical belief system that's different from most people. Where it's countercultural.
Yeah.
So you're intentional about having positive energy.
Well, I think all of the people that you just talked about, including myself, are on the spectrum of certifiably crazy, right? And I think that you have to be positive as a leader. It's not about being inauthentic,
yeah.
But it is about setting the tone for the organization. And I was told a long time ago that when you fly on a commercial airplane, don't panic until you see the flight attendants panic. And I think the same thing is true within an organization. Everyone is watching.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's important for the leader to set the tone for the organization.
We had one funny story I want to share because I think you'd appreciate this. When we were starting Thrive, my wife and I had some success in the business. And so we had decided we're just going to self-fund it ourselves until other venture capital guys can come along and help out. And you don't know when they're coming. They might never come. So you just do it. I remember my assistant, Liz, she was like, boss, we've spent, I think it was at that time, maybe $30,000 on pitch decks, where you print and you send them out to investors after you've had a conversation. And she's like, I think we've spent $30,000 on pitch decks, and meetings and, events at country clubs and stuff. What do you want to do? And that was that moment.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let's double the printing. And I remember saying that and walking out and being like, oh man, we've spent a lot on that. But I didn't show that, but I remember thinking, that was outstanding. But the meeting, she was looking for my reaction, like, should we panic? And now as more people have been brought on and people are subscribing all over the planet, now people are like, we have more investors calling like, hey, I want to be a part of that. But I remember that defining moment where they kind of looked and said, are you nuts? Are we going to do this or not?
Which may be true.
Yeah.
But that actually brings up another, what I think is a golden nugget. It was a quote I heard a long time ago, and that is, if you want to take the island, you have to burn the boats. Right. So we talk about clarity and focus and selling out to whatever it is that we are intending to achieve. You can't do it passively. You can't do it dipping your toe in the water and saying, well, we'll try a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this and get distracted by these. It's about selling out. You want to take the island, you got to burn the boats.
I love that. I want to get a t-shirt with that. If you want to take the island, you have to burn the boats. That's awesome. David, I appreciate you being here. That little notable quotable is going to probably set me on fire for a week or two. I appreciate that. Just thank you for taking your time to mentor people all across the planet. I know you have a busy agenda with a lot of stuff, and it means just the world to me, and I know the people listening. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma, June 27th and 28th. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old, but I've never had the two-time Heisman Award-winning Tim Tebow come present. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out, because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Also, this is the first Thrive Time Show event that we've had where we're going to have a man who has built $100 million net worth.
Wow.
Who'll be presenting. Now, we've had a couple presenters that have had $1 billion net worth in some like real estate sort of things.
Yeah.
But this is the first time we've had a guy who's built a service business, and he's built over $100 million net worth in the service business. It's the yacht driving, multi-state living guru of franchising. Peter Taunton will be in the house. This is the founder of Snap Fitness, the guy behind 9 Round Boxing. He's going to be here in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma, June 27th and 28th. JT, why should everybody want to hear what Peter Taunton has to say?
Oh, because he's incredible. He's just a fountain of knowledge. He is awesome. He has inspired me listening to him talk. And not only that, he also has, he practices what he teaches. So he's a real teacher. He's not a fake teacher like business school teachers. So you got to come learn from him.
Also, let me tell you this, folks. I don't want to get this wrong, because if I get it wrong, someone's going to say, you screwed that up, buddy. So Michael Levine, this is Michael Levine. He's going to be coming. You say, who's Michael Levine? I don't want to get this wrong. This is the PR consultant of choice for Michael Jackson, for Prince, for Nike, for Charlton Heston, for Nancy Kerrigan, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times best-selling authors he's represented, including pretty much everybody you know who's been a super celebrity. This is Michael Levine, a good friend of mine. He's going to come and talk to you about personal branding and the mindset needed to be super successful. The lineup will continue to grow. We have hit Christian recording artist Colton Dixon in the house. Now, people say, Colton Dixon's in the house? Yes, Colton Dixon's in the house. So if you like top 40 Christian music, Colton Dixon's going to be in the house performing. The lineup will continue to grow each and every day. We're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup. But I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, when's it going to be? June 27th and 28th. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And someone says, Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrive Time Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. So when? June 27th and 28th. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
James, did I tell you my good friend John Lee Dumas is also joining us at the in-person 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show business workshop? That Tim Tebow and that Michael Levine will be at. Have I told you this?
You have not told me that.
Oh, he's coming all the way from Puerto Rico. This is John Lee Dumas, the host of the chart-topping EOFire.com podcast. He's absolutely a living legend. This guy started a podcast after wrapping up his service in the United States military, and he started recording this podcast daily in his home, to the point where he started interviewing big-time folks like Gary Vaynerchuk, like Tony Robbins, and he just kept interviewing bigger and bigger names, putting out shows day after day. And now he is the legendary host of the EO Fire podcast, and he's traveling all the way from Puerto Rico to Tulsa, Oklahoma to attend the in-person June 27th and 28th Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshop. If you're out there today, folks, you've ever wanted to grow a podcast, a broadcast, you want to improve your marketing, if you've ever wanted to improve your marketing, your branding, if you've ever wanted to increase your sales, you want to come to the 2-day interactive June 27th and 28th Thrive Time Show business workshop featuring Tim Tebow, Michael Levine, John Lee Dumas, and countless big-time super successful entrepreneurs. It's going to be life-changing. Get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. James, what website is that?
thrivetimeshow.com.
James, one more time with more enthusiasm.
thrivetimeshow.com.
Shot everything rides on tonight. Even if I got 3 strikes, I'ma go for it. This moment, we own it. I'm not to be played with because it could get dangerous. See these people I ride with. This moment, we own it.
Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done his show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no. And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed, to the business owner, to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you, thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you, thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa! Hey, I'm Ryan Wimpy. I'm originally from Tulsa, born and raised here. I went to a small private liberal arts college and got a degree in business, and I didn't learn anything like they're teaching here. I didn't learn linear workflows. I learned stuff that I'm not using, and I haven't been using for the last 9 years. So what they're teaching here is actually way better than what I got at business school. And I went what was actually ranked as a very good business school. The linear workflow for us and getting everything out on paper and documented is really important. Like we have workflows that are kind of all over the place, so having linear workflow and seeing that mapped out on multiple different boards is pretty awesome. That's really helpful for me. The atmosphere here is awesome. I definitely just stared at the walls figuring out how to make my facility look like this place. This place rocks. It's invigorating. The walls are super, it's just very cool. The atmosphere is cool. The people are nice. It's a pretty cool place to be. Very good learning atmosphere. I literally want to model it and steal everything that's here at this facility and basically create it just on our business side.
Once I saw what they were doing, I knew I had to get here at the conference. This is probably the best conference or seminar I've ever been to in over 30 years in business.
You're not bored. You're awake, alive the whole time. It's not pushy. They don't try to sell you a bunch of things.
I was looking to learn how to just get control of my life, my schedule, and just get control of the business.
Planning your time, breaking it all down, making time for the F6 in your life, and just really implementing it and sticking with the program.
It's really lively. They're pretty friendly, helpful, very welcoming.
I attended a conference a couple months back, and it was really the best business conference I've ever attended.
At the workshop, I've learned a lot about time management, really prioritizing what's the most important.
Biggest takeaways are, you want to take a step-by-step approach to your business. Whether it's marketing, what are those 3 marketing tools that you want to use, to human resources.
Some of the most successful people and successful businesses in this town, their owners were here today because they wanted to know more from Clay, and I found that to be kind of fascinating.
The most valuable thing that I've learned is diligence, that businesses don't change overnight. It takes time and effort, and you got to go through the ups and downs of getting it to where you want to go.
He actually gives you the roadmap out. I was stuck, didn't know what to do, and he gave me the roadmap out step by step.
We've set up systems in the business that make my life much easier, allow me some time freedom.
Here you can ask any question you want. They guarantee it'll be answered.
This conference motivates me and also give me a lot of knowledge and tools.
It's up to you to do it. Everybody can do these things. There's stuff that everybody knows, but if you don't do it, nobody else can do it for you.
I can see the marketing working, and it's just an approach that makes sense.
Probably the most notable thing is just the income increase that we've had.
Everyone's super fun, it's super motivating. I've been here before, but I'm back again because it motivates me.
Your competition's going to come eventually, or try to pick up these tactics. So you better, if you don't, somebody else will.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us.
This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live 2 years ago. This is our old neighborhood. See? It's nice, right?
So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood.
This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
So we really just want to thank you, Clay, and thank you, Vanessa, for everything you've done, everything you've helped us with. We love you guys.
If you decide to not attend the Thrive Time workshop, you're missing out on a great opportunity.
The atmosphere of Clay's office is very lively. You can feel the energy as soon as you walk through the door, and it really got me and my team very excited.
If you decide not to come, you're missing out on an opportunity to grow your business. Bottom line.
Love the environment. I love the way that Clay presents and teaches. It's a way that not only allows me to comprehend what's going on, but he explains it in a way to where it just makes sense.
The SEO optimization, branding, marketing. I've learned more in the last 2 days than I have the entire 4 years of college.
The most valuable thing that I've learned, marketing is key. Marketing is everything.
Making sure that you're branded accurately and clearly. How to grow a business using Google reviews, and then just how to optimize our name through our website also.
Helpful with a lot of marketing, search engine optimization, helping us really rank high in Google. The biggest thing I needed to learn was how to build my foundation, how to systemize everything and optimize everything, build my SEO.
How to become more organized, more efficient.
How to make sure the business is really there to serve me as opposed to me constantly being there for the business.
New ways of advertising my business as well as recruiting new employees.
Group interviews, number one. Before we felt like we were held hostage by our employees. Group interviews has completely eliminated that because you're able to really find the people that would really be the best fit.
Hands-on how to hire people, how to deal with human resources, a lot about marketing, and overall just how to structure the business, how it works for me, and also then how that can translate into working better for my clients.
The most valuable thing I've learned here is time management.
I like the 1 hour of doing your business is real critical if I'm going to grow and change.
Clay really teaches you how to navigate through those things and not only find freedom, but find your purpose in your business and find the purposes for all those other people that directly affect your business as well.
Everybody.
Everyone needs to attend the conference because you get an opportunity to see that it's real.